Hey, what's up? My name is Strata Panda, and today I'm going to be ranking all the Demon Souls bosses from easiest to hardest, with a little twist as I'm going to be doing it from a mage's perspective, as I don't think I've ever seen that before. This is one of my all-time favorite games. I played it when it originally came out on PS3, and it was the first game I bought when I got my PS5. No, seriously, the day that they told me to pick up my PS5, I went to the store and bought this game. But anyway, a few things before we start. I don't know what happened in the last update since I last played, but some of the bosses were acting very strange and not attacking, or getting stuck in loops I've never seen before when I was getting footage for this video. So to keep that in mind, that I'm basing my ranking on past experience and present to form a baseline. I also decided to make a new character? What the hell? Anyway, with that being said, let's jump into the list. Oh, also, I'm not including Vanguard, as that fight pretty much is pointless unless you're really trying to get the most out of your build, and all that's waiting for you at the end of that journey is a fresh knuckle sandwich from a big-ass dragon. I don't know about you, but I'd rather die fighting or just skip the tutorial entirely than watch myself get sucker punched by a trapped demigod. It just sounds better when you reach the Nexus, you know how that is. Number 17, True King Allen. Yes, how the mighty have fallen. The final boss of Demon Souls doesn't really do much except move around like how I think a kitchen sponge would if it gained sentience. He talks to you the entire time about how the world is lost and that the only way to fix it is by killing everyone instead of fixing the problem he could have helped stop in the first place. Maybe he should run for president in his next life. I'm sure they'll have a spot for him there. Number 16, Phalanx. The first boss of Demon Souls and a true test in item management. If you manage to not use any of the fire bombs or pine resins you found, you pretty much won this fight with no magic required. But just like the devil, the beauty in this fight is in the details. As unlike the Souls games to follow, every boss has a gimmick that can be played into, and I find that quite enjoyable, as even the namings of a boss can capture just who or what they are, and I wish FromSoft stuck with this mind state instead of the whole throw everything in the kitchen sink at them approach that they have become synonymous with over the years. But as they say, a kid can dream. Number 15, Storm King. You remember that episode in Love, Death, and Robots where all those fish were flying in the sky? Those two dudes were there and one of the guys decides to swim alongside him? Then out of nowhere that shark bit him and he's never seen again? Yeah, this is that moment but the entire time. Your magic won't help you here as you'll need the sword Storm Ruler in order to do any damage to the boss. But to get him to come out in the first place, you need to kill some of his heirs first. His only method of attack is strafing you like a World War II fighter plane with little to no success if you know where to hide. Once you understand what's going on, this boss fight is straightforward. Wait for his run, jump out, get 2 to 3 hits in, and run back. Keep this up and you'll successfully do to Storm King what that shark did to that guy, fitting as sharks are the natural predators to manta rays. Number 14, Dragon God. For someone who was promoted so heavily, it was kind of surprising what you actually have to do in order to beat this boss, but it does keep in line with what I said about how each boss having a gimmick, and this one is hide and seek. The goal is to get to the 2 spears on the opposite sides of the room, but the kicker is that there's rubble blocking your way, and it can require up to 3 hits to break, 4 if you miss like I do sometimes. All this while hiding from a boss so you don't take a punch that will make Saitama proud. But you can make this a lot easier on yourself if you got a pickaxe from one of the workers in Stonefang. You can use this and it will only take 2 hits to break the rubble. They say that any weapon two-handed can one-shot the rocks, but I have had no luck with this, so do your best Steve impression and just keep watch, or the Dragon God will invite you to a different kind of smash. Number 13, Leechmonger. And now, a haiku. Leechmonger hates fire. Human no like Leechmonger. Leechmonger is dead. Number 12, Adjudicator. Adjudication is the legal process in which an arbiter or judge reviews evidence and argumentation, including legal reasoning set forth by opposing parties or litigants, to come to a decision which determines rights or obligations between parties involved. Huh, the more you know. Number 11, Armor Spider. It's time to take a trip back to Stonefang Tunnel, otherwise known as the place I think about whenever someone says forming a union won't solve anything. This boss in my eyes has got one of the biggest overhauls out of all the bosses, only to be outdone by another boss later in the list. The original method for beating this boss as a mage is still largely the same, but I like how much time they put into it, so always face her head on. She has her standard fireball that she shoots, and plus her volley of 3 that she can spray 2 to 3 times that for the life of me I can't seem to not get hit by. She also has her web attack that slows you for what seems like forever. Be careful, as you can get caught in kind of a loop and getting slowed and then getting hit by a fireball if your timing is off and you don't reset. She can set fire to the ground, but that seems to only happen if you're really close with melee. This is a really fun fight I think everyone should take head on at least once or always, no matter what your build is. Number 10, Fool's Idol. Whenever I say Fool's Idol, most people assume I'm talking about a former president, and I have no idea why. This boss I feel puts you in one of 2 camps. The first group thinks that this boss fight is a joke and can't figure out how anyone has trouble with it. The second group believes that this boss sucks and is unfair, or you're in the secret third group that is staying as quiet as possible about how you were dumb enough to leave that guy alive up top, and now you have to fight this boss twice in a row. This fight tests how well you pick up on clues in a stressful situation. With each damage phase, she multiplies, and as that nonsense is playing out, big circles are placed on the ground that stun you just long enough to get bursted by all the clones in a room. You need to avoid them at all costs. The trick here is to lock on to each idol and sift through until you see the one with no health bar, as this is the real one and you'll need to get in as many hits as possible, as she will split no matter how much damage was received. But once you get this pattern down, this boss fight is simple. Number 9, Old Hero. I could have sworn this boss was bald in the original. Maybe he always had hair and the tech at the time just couldn't handle it. Regardless, back then this boss was unsettling to look at. The fact that he was blind and slowly moving around while still being a deadly foe added to that feeling. Now he just looks like that main protagonist from that trash anime your friend keeps telling you to watch. Look, I don't care if it gets good in 7 episodes, it needs to get good from the jump or I'm not watching it. Here's a real tip for you. If your friend has to start off an anime recommendation with the phrase, "if you can get past," it's not worth your time. You can thank me later. Number 8, Tower Knight. The first true boss of Demon Souls and the boss that probably made you reconsider going magic. A daunting figure he is, with a giant shield that blocks all damage, a lance that can seemingly hit you from anywhere, and that for some reason along with his armor can't be acquired. Fashion Souls be damned. There are archers that shoot at you the whole time if you don't kill him. It's an insane jump in difficulty if you're facing him for the first time, and that's why he's so high on the list. This game tries to put you in the shoes of, well, sandals of David, but really you will be playing the role of Paris, as you will be going at his heels most of the time until he falls. You can kill the archers or leave them, but it's best to take them out as you already got enough going on as is. Here you will find out that this monster is no one-trick pony, and has magic at his disposal in the shape of a soul spear. But once you kill the archers, the real fight begins. Making your way towards him, you need to get at his feet and start nipping at his heels like that one dog that is never on a leash and always chases after people who are walking in their own neighborhood. But this doesn't mean that you are safe. He has a variety of AoE slams that do a lot of damage if they land. He can also jump backwards to most likely everyone's surprised to see something that big jump that high and that fast. But keep up your assault on the feet and this boss will fall to the ground. Try to make an attempt to get away from him, as a mini shockwave happens every time he hits the ground, and you take way too long to recover if it hits. Once he is down to your level, you can start hitting him in the head with magic, as his head takes the most damage. Repeat this process and this boss soul will be yours. Number 7, Flame Lurker. Ah yes, Flame Lurker, the original skill check for Demon Souls. If you couldn't beat this boss, then you had no chance in beating the PS3 version. He's actually a lot easier in this game than he is in the original because his movements are a lot more telegraphed and a lot less unpredictable. Throughout the fight, as he gets hurt, he starts to get faster and do more damage, so stalling is not an option here. You need to keep a close eye on your mana and health if you want to succeed in this fight. Well, isn't that all mage fights? You say so proudly to yourself like you just found the secret to life itself. If you would just shut the hell up for just a second, I'll tell you what I mean by that. Flame Lurker, more than any other boss in the game, likes to feed off the panic of the player and the mistakes that come with that. His speed and overall damage output can be jarring for anyone who hasn't seen it before, and that is especially true for mages. You don't have a lot of health or armor to go around taking massive hits, and you're also at a speed disadvantage as the time it takes to cast a spell is enough time for him to Hulk smash your ass from across the room. Timing is everything in this fight, and keeping a cool head when you get hit. Top off your mana or health when he's jumping around for seemingly no reason, and time your dodges anytime he gets close. If you keep all these things in mind, you'll have your boss soul and ready to face the rest of the horrors this game has to offer. Number 6, Maiden Destroyer. Why did they change the music? That's one of the best parts of this interesting fight that sadly glitched the hell out for me, so I'm putting it here due to past experiences. The moment you enter the boss room, she calls forth Garl Vinland like Yugi getting ready to cheat his way to a W. You don't fight the maiden herself, but she can be killed with a bow and a lot of time if you don't have the stats to full on fight Garl, as he can, in some cases, one-shot you. This is a really challenging fight if you only have sorceries, as Garl has an extreme resistance to it, so Pyro is the way to go here. Now, even when this fight works like it's supposed to, Garl is nowhere near as aggressive like he is in the original, as that version wouldn't go too far, but he would close the distance and try and hit you as long as you were near him. This one won't. Garl has 2 ways of attacking. One is his mace that, if it lands clean, has a chance to one-shot you unless it clips on the rocks and you get stuck there, but don't rely on that too much as it's not consistent. And his AoE miracle, God's Wrath, that I've never been hit by, even on my melee class, but I'm going to assume it deals a ton of damage if it ever landed. After a certain amount of damage, Garl will try to heal himself. You can't really go after him during this either, as he sits in plague-infested waters that can kill you just as fast as he can, if not quicker without the right items on hand. This fight takes a long time when it works, but eventually he will fall just like the rest, so you don't give up and this boss soul will be yours. Number 5, Old Monk. Okay, so this is an interesting concept, to at least to my knowledge only came back once. The actual boss you'll be fighting here is a player. For the boss ranking, this skews the results, so in the name of consistency, I just did the offline fight and based it off that. A mage can have a really bad time in here if you have the wrong setup. Fire Spray is king in human NPC fights as they don't have much of an answer for it other than to tank it and hope you run out of mana. The NPC has claws for his main attack that deals a surprising amount of damage if you get hit and is really quick. He spawns homing soul arrow at a higher volume the longer the fight goes on and the more damage he takes. Do not let that hit you. If all 5 land clean, you will be climbing this tower again. I almost don't think it's worth saying, but he also has soul ray, but I can tell you that this is the first time I've actually seen it. There's not much else to this fight other than strafing around him and recharging your mana, but there is one funny thing you can do here if you want a bunch of head collars for no reason, and if you're good enough. First, make a new character and unlock all Archstones. Don't level up at any point and make your way to the Fool's Idols Ball store. Kill the Black Phantom and invade. Most of the time you'll be put in the Old Monk boss room. Now you can sit back and relax and watch people die trying to get to you. The only reason I found this out was that I needed the invasion trophy for the platinum, but not one person could actually make it to the boss. Number 4, Penetrator. Okay guys, come on, can we please grow up? This fight should be a lot worse than it actually is, but really only if your timing is bad. Pen moves like a puppet on strings long before Pinwheel made it cool to do so, and as such is easy to avoid unless you went the tank route. In that case, I'm sorry for your loss. As his name suggests to anyone over the age of 16, he goes through shields and armor, but not as much as I'd like him to. But this should mean nothing to you if your dodge timing is on point. He has a penetrating move, I know, shocking, that counts as a grab, and if that lands clean, it will most likely kill you every time. I put this boss here due to the learning curve involved and not as much as the fight itself. It is a really fun fight and I'm just glad it's here. Okay, before we start this entry, hey Blue Point, can you fix this boss please? I don't know what's going on here, but I've never seen this before. It just happened when I was getting footage, so, like, yeah, can you fix it please? Number 3, Maneaters. As the great playwrights Key and Peele once said, the Maneaters deserve respect. Or was that vagina? Anyway, the only Maneaters I know is your father and uncle. Wait, what? This is the first and only double fight in the game, and the sole reason I think Ornstein and Smog are so overrated. But nobody played this game, so that buggy, unoptimized mess of a title gets all the credit. Bias aside, this boss fight can get really bad, really fast, and a surefire victory can turn into an instant loss in seconds. Think of this like an MMA fight, as until it's over, the chance of you losing is still high. The fight starts with just one Maneater. He has a multitude of attacks at his disposal, but the main one you need to watch out for is his dash moves, as it can knock you clean off the map, and that's why until this fight is over, you can still lose. The best way in my mind to fight this boss is to make your way up to the Brazier and strafe that while getting clean hits in with Soul Ray or Fireball. As I said, this is a double fight, and when the first Maneater gets to about 30% health, the second one flies in to ruin your day. One fact about this fight is that if you take too long on the first Maneater, the second one will spawn anyway. And when the second one's health bar comes on the screen, the race to kill the first one begins. Because if both are alive on the bridge at the same time, you can get tag team and outright destroyed. This fight is trial and error, and one of my favorites despite how broken it can be sometimes. Number 2, False King Allen. I know that's not his name, but it's kind of the Mandela effect for me, as even in the original I always called him False King and not Old King, as I was so in tune in the fight I never actually looked down to read his name before. Even his boss soul says False King, plus it sounds better and it's more fitting, so I think I'm justified. Now Demon Souls can be beaten really any order, but this is the true final boss of the game, as you need to beat a whole zone just to get the Penetrator in the first place, among other things as well, but unlike the final bosses to come after him with the exception of Gwen, he can actually put up a fight. I know the footage doesn't really show that, as I said, the updates, some of the fights kind of broke, and this was one of them, as he kept trying to do his AoE move and got stuck in a loop. All of his attacks have a wind blast at the end of them that can clip you if you're not ready for it. Allen can cover ground like no other as he slides towards you like a damn Power Ranger on a Galaxy Glider. With the right timing, this move will never land at any point, but can be very scary if you've never seen it before. He also has a Soul Suck ability that can take one whole level from your highest stat, and there's no way for him to return it if you get hit by it. I like this fight and the game itself, as it really puts you on edge at all times with like no other Souls game really has to offer other than Bloodborne. Nothing will top the time when I first beat this boss and how good it felt to do so, and at no point did I think the boss could be better or really thought something was wrong with him, and this is a big part why I still play these games today. And finally, number 1, Dirty Colossus. Now look, let me be clear, if this is the original, he would not be in this spot, so let me get that out of the way now. In the original, you could be as far back as the fog door and still kill him without much resistance. But Trash Monster here has had it with ranged characters and will smite you with Dingy Fury if you don't fight him man-to-monster. His projectiles have a few adverse effects along with the damage you take from getting hit, which is always as he shoots too damn fast and has extreme tracking. You heal less, and you take chip damage, and you can find yourself dead if you don't keep a close eye on your health. There are burning bodies on spikes that you can walk into to get rid of the flies at the cost of some health. I don't get close to him as that's more advantageous for him, and I don't negotiate with terrorists. But like most things in this rotten place, fire is his weakness, and he can be dropped in just a few hits with Fireball. As I said before, this is for mages, and that's why he's here, as he has the highest potential to kill you at range no matter what, unless you go the Firestorm route. And that's why he's here, number 1 on my list. Well, that's it. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at ShroudPanda and now on Instagram at ShroudedPanda. I'm really glad that the video turned out the way it did. I know there were a couple issues at the start, like halfway through, because this was done over multiple days, and I'm just kind of happy that to finally be able to get it done. If there's anything you feel was wrong, or you think some of my boss choices were kind of out of pocket, let me know. You know, I'm always here. I'm always here to talk. So again, I'd like to thank you all for joining me. Stay frosty. Till next time. Thanks.